Welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's happening, man? I hope you guys are doing great today. I know my day's going just fine, man. So check this out. If you would, please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers, for those of us who are still bound down to some sort of struggle that keeps us from moving forward in this toxic life that we live in, whatever that may be. So if you would, please join me in a moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. All right, well, check it out, man. What's happening? Hope you guys are doing good. Everything's going great over here on my end of the world. Yeah, so check it out, man. I got something that I want to share with you guys today. And it's a practice. It's just this one thing that I do on a regular basis in my own journey of spirituality and recovery, man. And it's something I want to share with you guys, and it may be something that you want to adopt in your life, because I know that it has helped me in many ways in my addiction and my depression, in my PTSDs, and mainly in my spirituality. It's navigated me in different ways, man. You know what I mean? In different ways that I would never have gone had I not practiced this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm talking about is, I'm talking about a Hosea. And some of you may not know what a Hosea is, and I'll explain that here in just a second. But yes, the Hosea, what it is, what Hosea is, let me take these things off real quick so I can replace them with these things that I can't read without. So, yeah, so check it out, man. I got some notes that I got down here, and I want to share those with you guys. So, let me get back up here on this thing. And, okay, well, see, what a Hosea is the word Hosea derives from way back in the biblical days, and it's like a Hebrew context type thing, and what it means is salvation, deliverance, and it refers to this old prophet who was known for his messages of love, redemption, and faithfulness. And in the Bible, Hosea was the prophet that was called to speak to people of Israel during time of spiritual decline. So they were in this adversity. You know what I'm saying? They were suffering of some sort of way, that they were losing faith in the things that they believed in, the things that would ultimately progress you in your life. They were stuck in a sense. And this dude was this guy who came to share the message, this guy to encourage you, you know what I'm saying? And he would do this in the means of gathering people up and talking to them in the groups, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that was really cool, you know what I mean? That it derives from way back in those days, and many different religious sects and many different communities practice what they call a Hosea, which is basically just gathering people from communities of, like-minded people, in a sense. Like, okay, if you're struggling through like anger, we'll just use that for example. Well, all these people that struggle with anger get together in a group and they start talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's so whether you're asking about the name, the person, or the book, Hosea stands as a symbol of hope, spiritual renewal, and the transformative power of grace. And man, to me, that it just tugs at you. You know what I'm saying? It tugs at you in this way that makes you want to help. You know what I'm saying? It makes you want to help, and it makes you want to get help. And that's what it does for me, anyway. And what I'm going to do here is I just want to kind of throw something else at you here. And, the benefits of this type of practice it's practice of being in a community. You know what I'm saying? It allows you to get out of this bubble, if you will, and start interacting with people who are going through similar situations and who have, you know, who have prevailed through those things and who have some nuggets of wisdom to pass on to the next guy. And perhaps their way of doing something will help you also. And that's the whole purpose of the Hosea. And it also, it's good emotional support. You know what I mean? Group members provide mutual support and understanding, helping individuals feel less alone and more connected to others. You know, as human beings, we're always looking for that connection. Nobody likes to be alone, and we weren't meant to be on this world by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We've always been a tribal type of people. You know what I'm saying? And then the sense of belonging, joining a community group can create a sense of belonging and provide a platform for sharing personal stories and experiences. And those are those nuggets that you can get out of being in those groups, in those communities. You know what I'm saying? And coping strategies also. Its group members share practical advice and coping strategies that can be beneficial for managing challenges and improving mental health. Also, it increases self-awareness. Regular attendance encourages self-reflection, personal growth, leading to a stronger sense of identity and resilience. And that right there is that increased self-awareness is that regular attendance, meaning it's this habitual pattern that you have to do. And if you are a person like I am and have these habitual patterns that aren't very good, like addiction, when you remove those types of patterns and replace them with these types of patterns, that you're in this spiritual and communal divinical sense, that it's why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not replace it with something like that? And you'll see that your life starts running a little smoother. But let's go on here. It also helps enhance coping mechanisms. Participation in groups can significantly improve coping skills, enhancing the abilities to manage anxieties and challenges. These benefits highlight the importance of community support in promoting mental well-being and the positive impact it can have on individuals dealing with various degrees of suffering, because we all suffer, unfortunately. You know what I mean? We live in a world of samsara, as we call it in the Buddhist tradition, and that is the world of suffering, the world of birth, the world of rebirth and of death and of sickness. And that's sick, that is suffering. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what you're doing in your life, you will deal with suffering of some sort of degree. You know what I'm saying? That's just our life. You know what I'm saying? And when you involve yourself in Hosea, which is very, very helpful, man, because here's one thing that you got to understand, is that in these Hosea groups, you'll find out that you're going to have to be, as they would say in the 12-step groups, that you're going to have to be open-minded, willing, and truthful to the new change. Because that's exactly what's happening in these groups, is you're allowing yourself to the new change of opening your mental capacity to be wide and infinite. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you need to do if you're stuck in these adversities, if you're stuck in these ways of thinking that are keeping you bound down. And for a lot of us, that's what keeps us bound down, whether we know it or not. If you're one of those people who talk like, oh, I can't go to the gym, I've never been good at it, or I can't do that job, there's just no way, or I can't go to school, it's just too late for me, or I'll never be able to learn that language, or oh no, there's no way that I can look like that, or whatever it is, right? When you have a mental capacity like that, you're setting limitations to your mental capacity. So you're only going to be able to get that high in what you're doing as far as your thought process goes, and when you do that, you set yourself up for this basically failure in a sense that it's like that hamster wheel effect. You know what I'm saying? And it all goes back to the ancient hermetic laws of cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? If you want something to happen, you have to do something for it to happen, right? That's the cause and effect. So if you find that you're in this adversity all the time, that you've been living this way for years and years, and you figure, well, what have I been doing in all of those years that I can't get past this? And you're going to find out, if you dissect that, you're going to find out that you've been doing this repetitious, habitual pattern of thinking. And you can't get past it because you set a limitation to your thought process. You know what I'm saying? I hope everybody is with me on that. And when you start changing it, when you start changing that mental capacity, when you start being mindful, when you start being more aware, when you start being a little bit more vulnerable to the new way of teaching yourself and learning new things and hearing people out and accepting the help, because we have evolved into these beings of egocentric mental capacities. You know what I'm saying? And we weren't meant to be like that. You know what I'm saying? When humans first got here on this earth, they were these humans that depended. Nobody was secluded. Nobody was isolating themselves. You know what I'm saying? You depended on your tribe. You depended on your people. And nobody did anything in their communities without first talking to the tribe. You know what I'm saying? All the decisions came through that. So you all helped each other. You know what I'm saying? And we've evolved so much and so rapidly in our life and that we live in, that we've programmed ourselves to float around in these egocentric bubbles of, I don't want nobody in my space. I'm going to put these walls up because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to deal with it. I can't talk to people. I'll get anxiety, and it just, the list goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? So when you do this, then guess what happens? That's the limitation that you're setting in your mental thought process. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that you're going to be able to get out of this hole, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's that hamster wheel effect. It's that rabbit hole thing. You know what I mean? And the deeper and deeper it gets. You know what I mean? And the more you just keep going and going and going, and the years go by, and you're still in the same situation. You're still, you're struggling with this addiction. You're still struggling with this disorder. You're still struggling with this depression. You're still struggling with this anxiety, with this grief. Because you're not allowing yourself to be teachable, vulnerable, and open to the new change. You know what I'm saying? There's one thing that I learned from my dad before he passed away. My dad was passed away many years back. He died of alcohol and drugs. And one of the things that I remember that he used to tell me all the time is that he goes, take care of number one, because if you don't take care of number one, you can't take care of nothing else. And man, was that so true to me. You know what I mean? I still use that today. If I don't take care of me first, if I don't show love and compassion for myself, how could I do that for somebody else? You know what I'm saying? And so you got to really, I've had to really do that. And one of the ways that I was able to start being a little vulnerable, start being a little bit more teachable, to start being a little bit more open-minded, was by going through these Hosea groups. You know what I'm saying? Many different communities that I get involved with, man. I got the Dharma recovery people over at the Buddhist temple that I go to. I do a lot of the 12-step programs. I do a bunch of music therapy, and I share my message here. You know what I'm saying? And I involve myself in the community that way to help other people who have gone through what I have gone through. You know what I'm saying? And when you go to these groups, man, you'll find that you'll be accepted. There's love there. There's compassion. compassion, there's mindfulness, there's a family, there's a home. And you have to be willing to go out and look for your home, for your new family per se. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we're supposed to do as human beings. We're supposed to help each other. And man, in this day and age, is that far-fetched for a lot of people, man. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't even talk to their neighbors. You know what I mean? Much less just a stranger. So it's imperative that you have that compassion and mindfulness for yourself, so that you can, in turn, let it flow into somebody else, man. So yeah, and a good way to do that, one of the ways to do that is through the community, man. Through finding these groups, these Hosea groups, as we call the one that we do over at the Buddhist temple that I attend at Risho Kokushikai, which is really, really awesome, man. You know what I mean? And you get a lot of feedback, you get a lot of wisdom, it just makes you feel like 10 times lighter after you leave a Hosea, man. You know what I'm saying? What great therapy, you know what I mean? And just to get that motivation of the week, you know what I mean? Because this happens on Sunday for me at the Buddhist temple. And that for me is a good primer for the week, man. It lights your fire. It gets you moving. It gets your mental capacity engine rocking and rolling, man. So you start thinking of good and different ways to not only help yourself and live healthy in a spiritual way, but to do that for somebody else. And man, is that to me one of the most beautiful things, one of the most beautiful gifts that you can hand over to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And especially in these times that are coming up, that we're fixing to come up on, the holidays, man, a lot of people tend to get into that isolation mode and depression mode. So, man, if you're one of those people, find yourself a group, man. And if you're one of those people who attend these groups, man, reach out. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to the people that you see, you know, in your communities, and just a friendly hello is always good. You know what I'm saying? It goes a long way, man, just to say hi to somebody with a good, genuine smile. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was my message for today, man. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope it brings a little bit of something to somebody out there. I hope my energies touch your energies, man, and we are good to go, man. So I hope that you guys have a rocking rest of the week. If you would, please, at this time, just hit that subscribe button, man. Just know that when you do hit the subscribe button, man, it won't cost you a thing, man. But you know what? You'll be helping out another veteran, another homeless person, another person dealing with PTSDs, childhood traumatic experiences, trauma, depression, anxiety, stress, anger, grief, all of the suicidal thoughts, PTSDs, all those things, my friends. Because check this out, man. At one point in time in my life, I dealt with all of those things, man. And guess what, man? I know a way out. And my way out could be your way out. So just, you know, share the message, my brothers and sisters, and hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I guess until the next time, when the smoke clears, I am the Recovery Plug.